books do you have in your library that are the kind of books that inspire you, that help you create new highways of awareness so that you can actually create a life you truly love living? Well, hi, I'm Mary Morrissey. I'm the author of 2 best-selling books, No Less Than Greatness and Building Your Field of Dreams, which became a PBS special. I'm also the founder of Life Mastery Institute. I've been teaching many people all over the world, tens of thousands of people, for over 30 years, the art and the science of transformation. So today I'm going to share with you the top 3 transformational books I have in my library. Now, I'm a collector of transformational material. As I said, I've been teaching over 30 years, and I've been studying well over 40 years. But today I'm going to give you 3 books that I suppose if I had to narrow, I don't know that I could even narrow it down to 3, but I'm going to give you 3 that are 3 of my very most favorite, okay? So, number 1, there was a book written in 1910 by a man named Wallace Wattles. And it's a little tiny book, but it's called The Science of Getting Rich. Now, you might think that rich means money. That's only one wavelength of what real wealth is. He speaks of health and relationships and vocation and time and money freedom, what I have come to call a full spectrum wealth. And he explains that it's always an inside-out job, but there's one line in that book particularly that has been very, very important to me. He says, learning to think truth in the presence of facts is some of the most rigorous and difficult thinking you'll ever learn to do, and that's why so few people ever do it. I first read those words 30 plus years ago. I had no idea what he meant, the difference between truth and facts. So as you study Wallace Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich, it will create new highways of awareness in you. Today, on a regular repeated basis, I look at facts and I say, all right, these are the facts, but what's the truth here? Because the truth is, every one of us has more potential than any fact that's going on in our life, any circumstance that's existing, no matter how long it's been there. There's more potential in us than those facts, and that's the truth. The second book is a book written in 1922 by a woman named Genevieve Barron. It's called Your Invisible Power. Genevieve Barron was widowed at a young age. She was in her late 20s. The money her husband left gave her a small stipend, and she said to most of her friends, it looked like her life was pretty good. But she had this profound loneliness, not only for her deceased husband, but for a relationship with life itself. And she had a great big dream that she developed over a few years. And that dream seemed hopeless, and the gateway to that dream was closed again and again and again and again by circumstance. And yet Genevieve Barron found a way to think around the problems, overcome the obstacles, keep her mind on the goal, and not pay attention so much to the obstacles. And she would say something later quoted by a different man, that obstacles are those scary things you see when you take your eyes off the goal. And one of her great lines in that book is, I declined to be discouraged. And I thought, what a great tool. We actually can decline to be discouraged. We don't have to let discouragement have us. Now, I could read those words long before I could implement that tool. But Invisible Power sits in my shelf and on my desk often as one of my favorite books in my library. And the last book is the classic Think and Grow Rich, written, of course, by Napoleon Hill, who was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie, who happened to be the wealthiest man in the world at the time, because he knew there was an invisible pattern for success that every successful people had used, whether they were aware of it or not. And he knew deep down that almost none of them knew how they actually became so successful. And he wanted that pattern studied, codified, and made available to the common man. If you've ever been in a public library in the United States of America, almost every public library, you have Andrew Carnegie to thank for it, because that's how he used the last half of his life, devoting his money, his dollars, his time and attention to education. Hence his interest in helping sponsor someone who would study the science of success and then how to make that code available for all of us. One of the things Andrew Carnegie did was suggest something to Napoleon Hill. The day Napoleon Hill said, all right, I'll spend 20 years of my life studying this. You will open the door to all the successful people. You'll pay me no money to do this, but you tell me that if I do this, I will likely be very successful myself. And Andrew Carnegie said, if you study this, I can promise you, you will be very successful. Now, this is the wealthiest man in the world speaking. And imagine you're sitting in a desk right across from the wealthiest, arguably the most successful man in the world. You're in a huge estate where you've interviewed him for a day for an article you want to write. And now he's invited you into a 20-year commitment with your life, and you've said yes. And his next instruction to you is, I want you to go home, and starting today, 3 times a day, I want you to look yourself in the eye and say, Andrew Carnegie, not only will I match your achievements in life, but I will meet you at the post and I'll pass you at the grandstands. Now, meeting at the post and passing the grandstands is a horse racing term. When you meet at the post, it begins the final stretch. And the grandstands are right at the final, the winning line. So if someone passes you at the grandstands, they've won the race. So again, here's this highly successful man telling this young writer, look yourself in the eye, say these words, just do that. So Napoleon Hill goes home and he says in the beginning, as he's looking at himself in the eye, and he's saying, Andrew Carnegie, not only will I match your achievements in life, I'll meet you at the post and pass you at the grandstand. Inside himself, he's feeling like a fool. He's feeling like a fraud. But his mentor had told him, do this 3 times a day. But he reports in his book that by about the end of the second week of just doing this exercise, even though he felt like a fool and a fraud much of the time, just doing the exercise, by about the end of the second week, as he's looking himself in the eye and saying, Andrew Carnegie, not only shall I match your achievements in life, but I'll meet you at the post, I'll pass you at the grandstands. He said there was this odd growing feeling inside of him, with no evidence from the outside world that it could be true, but a growing feeling nonetheless. This could actually happen. This could actually happen. How odd, I would be thinking that thought. Andrew Carnegie generated about 1,000 millionaires in his lifetime through his businesses. Napoleon Hill, thousands and thousands upon millionaires did he generate. And the number is still growing based on the work and the research and the work that he codified in Think and Grow Rich. So you can always purchase these books, of course, on Amazon.com or some other places. But those 3 books have really mattered to me. I know they can make a difference for you. So if you've enjoyed the video, please share it. And then for more proven secrets and some step-by-step strategies on how you actually can create a life you love living, I have a gift for you. Go ahead and click the link below. Receive a free copy of my ebook, Stronger Than Circumstances, which is 3 proven methods for overcoming the fear and limitation thinking and procrastination that keeps you from having your dreams, so you actually can live a life you love living.